So hopefully you can see that now. Today's session is all about persuasion and the role that persuasion takes in both our life, in our career, and in our business life. So as we do on these now, we start with why is it important? Sorry, my screen's a bit. So I suppose what is persuasion first? Well, it's the art of convincing others to agree with your view or to take the actions that you're proposing. So ultimately, persuasion is a key skill to have across everything that we do, whether it's life, career, or business, especially in change and transformation. Because often, as people are going through change, there is that reticence initially, that typical change curve of denial, etc., etc. And the ability to persuade people to start to engage with you, to persuade people to start to understand what the future may look like and the opportunities that it may present is a critical skill. And when we look at business life, the ability to persuade people and to help them to build that trust in you as a potential service provider is a critical skill. And for those of us who've got children, the ability and willingness to persuade children to go to bed at a reasonable time and switch off their iPhone and iPads, etc., and go to sleep is a critical skill. I'm sure you all agree. So what we're going to talk about is 6 elements that I think make up the key aspects and the key factors of helping you to persuade your child, your employer, your friends, your colleagues, or potential clients. And you'll see as we go through why I call it an equation. So the first element is, do you understand the problem, want, or desire that the individual has, or the organization has, or your particular client has? But the key aspect is to understand the problem, want, or desire that the individual has, because you're ultimately looking to persuade the individual to move forward or to change direction or to do things differently. So if you can put yourself in their shoes and understand what they're looking to get out of it, that's a critical aspect, and probably the number one foundation that you need to have in place to be able to persuade anybody to do anything differently. Because fundamentally, although that we say that nobody buys a solution for a problem they don't have, if the individual can't see that they have to move, they have to do things differently because of there's a specific issue or problem, or there's a particular desire that they want to move towards. If they can't see that they've got to move away from where they are now, they probably won't be that willing to make that transition. So be clear about the problem, want, or desire, and then if it's an urgent, if there's an impending cliff edge, or if the price of inaction is too great, then the likelihood is that they'll be much more willing to move forward. So when you are looking at a particular issue, if you can't really get clear on the problem, want, and desire, then give yourself a score of up to 15 points. And there's, it's how you want to score yourself really, but up to 15 points. And if that sort of problem is as a degree of urgency, if there's that impending cliff edge, or if you can, in change and transformation, I'm sure we've all had the discussion to say, well, if the business case for this transformation is make it easy, £365 million benefit, every day of delay is costing you £1 million. And I've used that approach so many times to get intransient stakeholders to start to move forward, because you really start to understand what it means for them and incorporate that degree of urgency. So if you can get that degree of urgency, give yourself another 10 points. Element number 2, do you have a clear-cut product or approach excuse me, that will help solve that problem? So can you show them a way forward? Can you show them that you understand what it will take to help them to move from that problem or move towards that desire in a structured way? If you can, great, give yourself 15 points. And if that product or approach is a unique, i.e. they can only get it from you, or well, not necessarily only from you, but there is a limited capability, then give yourself an extra 10 points. And coming back to how you position this within your career and in business, within the career aspect, it's almost, you know, demonstrating that you've done this so many times and you know the pains that they're going to go through. You've got the blood on the t-shirt, so let's show you a way forward. In terms of business, it is understanding that unique approach that you've got and being able to demonstrate that unique approach and show them the journey that you're going to take them through. Element number 3 is, do you have demonstrable proof that your solution resolves their pain? So again, if we start to look at someone who is reluctant to move forward or reluctant to change, once we've identified that they've got a problem and they do need to move, they do need to move forward in some way, we can show them that we've got a proven approach, but can we also demonstrate, can we demonstrate why that is a proven approach? Can we provide case studies? Can we provide examples? Can we put them in touch with previous clients or previous employers? Can we really show them that you do know how to move this thing forward and you do have the experience to help them to get towards where they want to get towards? And is that proof unquestionable? So if you can provide some case studies, if you can put them in touch with previous clients or previous employers or previous project sponsors, it just helps build up that confidence for them to be able to move forward and for you to be able to persuade them to take those next steps. So again, if you've got proof, 15 points. If it's unquestionable, if you can really provide that one-to-one connection with people that can support your claims, then give yourself an extra 10 points. Element number 4 is the price of your solution with acceptable levels. So price, I'm talking about price in the broadest context, is and very much down to the individual. What's the price that they've got to take? So it could be it could be financial cost if you are selling a solution or a service back into an organization, but it could just be that sort of price that they as an individual have got to take, maybe in terms of the status within the organization, maybe in terms of the in the past they positioned themselves at the front of all knowledge, and now they've got to accept that actually they need some support. That personal price as well as the financial aspect, and equally where there is a financial aspect, or even when there's not a financial aspect, can you really start to link that price to their desired outcomes? So again, if you can, give yourself an extra 10 points, but make sure that the price is acceptable to the individual. 15 points if it is. And why is this important? Because if the price is too much financially or emotionally, people will put their heads in the sand and won't move forward, and it then becomes very, very difficult for them to be persuaded. Element number 5 is the period, time period or deadline to the availability of your solution, and that's almost going back to element number 2 around creating that cliff edge, and almost it's that final encouragement, that final push. You may be taking them to the water's edge, but they're reticent about jumping in. Well, can we push them in as such? Because ultimately we know that the benefits will only come when they jump into the water. So can we create a deadline? If we can, on that sort of cliff edge, if we can, give yourself 15 points. If you can really make that real and make them realize it's a real deadline, give yourself 10 points. A lot of sales messages will have this sort of last few days of a sale. And if they're trying to persuade you to make that buying decision quickly because the sale's coming to an end. And probably the biggest example that I can provide, I don't think they do it that often these days, but in the past, DFS used to do advertising literally weekly, saying that the sale was coming to an end on Friday.
Okay, I thought it was urgent. I've just come out of the networking meeting.
Sorry. So just try to work out who's. Can you put? It's gone quite now. Yeah. So DFS used to do this advertising campaign that says it's coming to a close on Friday. You've got to take action today. But everyone got to know that actually there'd be another sale next week. So it wasn't really a real deadline. And people just, some people made the decision because of it. A lot of people just said, well, there'll be another sale next week. So the more you can make it real, the more level of persuasion that you'll have. And the final element is, does your pitch encourage that immediate action? So have you got your pitch right? And does it combine all of the 5 previous elements? And are you confident in your delivery? Are you really focused upon what it means to the individual as opposed to what it means to you? And if you have, and they can really start to believe in what you're saying and in your approach, they're much more likely to move forward. So that, again, whether that is in life, in business, or in career, it's the same principle. If you can incorporate these 5 elements and you really pitch it in the right way, then you're much more likely to be able to persuade people to take the action that you want them to take. And ultimately, we come back to the point about it's an equation. Well, those are the the 5 the 6 areas: problem plus product plus proof plus price plus period plus pitch equals persuasion. And really, you've got 25 points for each one of those. And the target is, when you're thinking and planning the way forward and how to position stuff, the target is to get towards as close to 150 as possible. Because if you get 150 and you tick all of those boxes that we've spoken about, in all reality, the likelihood is that you will persuade people to move in the direction that you want to move to. If you miss out on any one of these, the likelihood is that people will not necessarily want to move forward, or will find a reason to not move forward. By ticking all the boxes, you won't get everybody, but you'll get the majority of people moving forward in the way that you want to move forward. Thank you very much for your coming along today and involvement, and look forward to seeing you again in the future.